Okay, what's going on, boys? Apologies, been away actually on business and a bit of pleasure. That's why you probably see I look a bit different, a bit tanned, got some color. But I wanted to go over just top 10 tactics, and I want to quickly talk about this tactic release that I did on Friday. I think this is the best tactical layout that I've ever uploaded for pure wins. So if you wanted, we spent a lot of time, a lot of testing behind the scenes, combining a 4-2-1-3, a 4-4-2, and a 4-4-1-1. I'm not going to go over this again, but I've already explained how the formation, you can go through the different slots. This would be the quote-unquote best tactics you'll lose until the end of the game. So if you ever if you want the best tactical layout for wins, pure wins, this is the best one that you can use, and it will be until the end of the year. But also, you could be pure saying, oh, look, it's getting boring, same tactics. But at the end of the day, look, I'm trying to just do what everyone is requesting. I know most of you guys are happy with it. Some of you guys are upset with it. The way we do tactics layout now, we're going to go for a top 10 in a second, but let me know what you want to see. But just quickly want to say this. We do tactics reviews. We've been doing some of the pro players' tactics, but everyone is using the same tactics. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I want to say this very cold-heartedly, and I mean this telling you facts. What do you think? Changing your tactics is going to make you an amazing player? Like, if you're a rank 5 player, you can try to find something that works for you. That's the whole idea. But you're not going to become a rank 1 player just by copying it if you're crap at the game. It's like I always give this example. Like if I give you the fastest F1 car, you're going to win the race. No. So I just wanted to get over that because I'm thinking maybe introducing different tactics from different creators. Let me know what you want to see below. But again, I know it's not most of you, just a small minority, just literally clueless about the game, but they never listen. Maybe that's better for us. They never improve. We just get the easier wins from them changing tactics every hour. But the reason I want to say is I know people want to test tactics out. So I thought I'll also release content creators tactics, ones that I think that are a bit different. I want to also go into a bit more of a niche tactic. So, I created a 3-5-2 last week. I've not really seen anyone do that. That's something I've been working on when the game came out, actually, the 3-5-2 tactics. But it wasn't... also, you have to bear in mind, when I'm making a video, right, 20k views, I'm actually making almost making a net loss on the video, to be honest. We'll go into that another day, but so sometimes some videos are just not worth uploading as well. But this 3-5-2, I've actually really liked it. Skip this. As I mentioned, it's a 4-2-2, and it turns into a 3-5-2. Yes, it's a formation where you're not going to win every single game, but if you're getting, let's say, 13, 14 wins in a weekend league, and you don't mind getting 12 or 13, I think it's a really good system. Look, let's be honest. The 4-4-2 flat is the best formation, I would say, for being attacking. And then I would say for the average player, and it's important that I mention average player here, the 4-2-1-3. I've already explained why CDMs are so important. This is why I would say the average player can't really play with another formation, like a 4-4-2 or any formation that's got center mids, or like a 4-2-4, because it's very difficult. So I think this is the problem. People saying, oh, why do pros use this? Because you're not a pro. You have to understand that. So 4-4-2, I think, has its place. Let me get rid of this camera. What the hell? I zoomed in too much. Let me just sort this out. There we go. But a 4-4-2 flat, I think, is the top formation. I think this will be in top 5. I think if I had to put top 5, I would say 4-4-2. And then I would say 4-4-1-1. It's also the same. Again, I've already mentioned this on Friday. That's why we incorporated it into the mix, but has no CDMs. But equally, it's very, very good. Then I would say the 4-2-1-3 is probably, it has to be up there. Like, let's be honest, people are just using either putting the 4 players on stay forward, 4 players on stay back, whatever you want to do it. It's the best counter formation. Like if I had to give someone, I've never seen their gameplay, and I said, you have to just use one formation, this would be the one that I throw out, especially because it has a cam. The biggest caveat you have with like a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4 is you don't have that cam player there, that player that kind of brings the attack in the midfield together. So that is why this formation, it just can't be trumped. The only alternative to this, which also gets in the top 5, would be the regular 4-2-3-1. So there's 2 variations. I would say maybe leaning more towards the cam, this more of a defensive end. But they're basically the same. It's basically the same as a 4-2-1-3. You just have left ram and a ram, left lamb and a ram, and a left wing and a right wing. That is the only real difference you're getting between them. Whereas this one has left mids and right mids. So you could argue they're all basically the same formation. They're not like amazingly different. But people keep thinking, oh, it's how ghastly. If I use left mids and right mids on them, play terrible. No. In fact, you could probably argue the average player will find this to be a bit more better defensively. So that's why it kind of goes in. So, and then the last one, which you could probably say is the 4-2-2. I think this has to go into a top 5 slot. 2 CDMs. You can see it's basically the same system. It's basically all either a 4-2-1-3, which is different makeshift left mids and right mids, or it's a 4-4-2 with a makeshift left mid and right. In the 4-2-4, it's left wings and right wings. In a 4-2-2, it's lambs and rams. And in the 4-4-2, it's left mids and right mids. So you can see the structure is the same. It's basically like real life. Two most common formations are one of those, but the formations, unfortunately, like the 3-backs, you just can't use them. EA have just obliterated them into the ground. They're just very good attacking wise. From a defensive side, they're an absolute shambles. Even myself playing, I'm talking about when I'm not even just playing casually, I'm talking about when I'm tryharding. By the way, if you want to see me go from Division 10 to Elite Division, we also put that on a Patreon as well. That's just basic gameplay, not tryharding, playing very casually. So you can see how I get to Elite Division. And of course, controls on the screen, so you can copy everything that we're doing. We don't use speed boost. We don't use no Travellas, none of that BS. Play the nil guides way, as you guys know. Ball on the full. We don't even cross and score the headers, but that's just the nil guides way. That's the way that I teach it. But anyway, 3-backs you just can't use. The left mid and right mid, when they come back, they don't actually help you defensively. You're basically left to your own devices. I've had also fellow good players that I think are much better defensive, because although I'm a bit defensive minded, I'll be honest. I think there's some players that are extremely good at manual defending. After the patch, one of my friends, exceptionally good. Attack is woeful, but he's very good defending. Very quick with switching. But the problem is, even he can't. Pros even struggle with 3-backs. So I don't think it's a viable formation for you to use. I think if you want to go and have fun, then sure, yeah, knock yourself out. But, if you want to play for wins, it's going to be different. It's going to be difficult to use a 3-back formation. You really need to be careful. So you're going to get countered left, right, and center. I think the 5-backs have its place. I think this would probably be, in my opinion, probably edges in the top 5 formations. Thankfully, no one actually uses it because most communities are just sheep and they just copy the pro players and whatever. But this is actually a very good tactic, one of the best, if not. You have a CDM as well. I've already explained it. But thankfully, masses have not really caught on to this yet. Don't forget, most people as well, they see what a pro is doing and then they'll copy that tactic. And if the entire community is in that, they'll copy the same. And it's true, the 4-2-1-3s are really up there, but this has a different slot available, because if you have, for example, these players as, attacking wingbacks, you could have a very, very attacking formation. And then almost like a similar real life system, except if you have 2 in midfield in a CDM slot. But you can have this. And then if you really wanted to make it like a back 4, you could do something like this. I'm not saying you should, but at that point you might just use the 4-4-2. But let's say you want to defend in that system, that could be something that you could consider as well. But I think also just having these players as wingbacks, it really helps with people that are struggling with build-up play, bringing the ball going forward. You have those left mids and right mids. They're not going gung-ho and flying forward, but you have that, that mix. And then you have that CDM for security as well. And then you could, for example, put the center mids on playmaker. So if you're asking me, although no one uses this is top 5. This is probably edges just in the top 5. Maybe you can make the argument because of the other, like the 4-4-2s and the 4-2-1-3s, they're so identical that this would be up there. The thing, like, for example, the 5-2-3, no CDMs, a lot of people will struggle with it. That's why I probably lean more towards the 5-3-2, that CDM being that big key. That's why I wanted to upload that video during the week. Very windy today. I'll put that video during the week as well. 5-2-1-2 probably goes up there with being the only alternative to a 3-5-2 that you can play. It is a 3-5-2 in your attack, don't forget. So if you really want to use a 3-5-2, one thing you can do, although you lose the attacking threat, if you put the attacking wing backs like this, you can have a 3-5-2, but it has no CDMs. So this would be probably the best setup you could argue for a 3-5-2 replica. You don't have CDMs. It'll be difficult to play, and that is why all the formation with CDMs kind of really trump the best. The only ones that really don't trump well are like it's actually a good formation, by the way. This, if you want a 3-5-2, this could probably be the closest that you could get without going, because I mean, technically there is better ones, but with the center mid is not too far away, and it's kind of doing a bit of both, and you don't have 2 CDMs. But the 4-1-2-on-2 wide is a very good formation as well. At least you can. This could be also a 3-5-2 alternative because you got a cam instead of the center mid. You still maintain one CDM, and then you have the left mid and right mid. So at least from a defensive standpoint, you have somewhat of a three defensively. One formation that's been completely killed into the ground is the 4-2-2 now. Now, I think this can be played on a very high level. It can most definitely be played, but you need left center mids and right center mids that have the ability to go down, and you can mark those areas yourself. A lot of it is manual work. You're gonna have to bring this player and drag him manually to the left or right hand side. So you can still defend if you're able to right stick switch, but it's actually very, very hard. The issue with this formation is because it's so narrow, and even if they had the old width system with 100 width, it's not going to make a difference because you can't make these players wide players. The problem is you're going to get doubled up down the wings. I think if your opponent is playing a 4-2-1-3 and they introduce a fullback overlapping, you're going to be in serious trouble. So although it's very good for short tiki-taka bursts in the middle and the attacking phase, defensively it's not sound. You could still I think it's a very viable formation, don't get me wrong, but I think you have to be a bit of a high level to player. When I say a lot of these formation advices, I'm normally gearing towards people in Division 3 to the elite division. If you use this, if you say you watch this now and you're a Division 7 player and you're versing a fellow Division 7 player, you could use this formation because most of those guys don't know what they're doing in terms of attacking, and you could use it and you probably might do very well with it. And that's why I think a lot of people get confused because they use a tactic, they do very well with it. But the problem is, once you get up to the higher divisions, you need wide players, you need width, you need at least a left wing and a right wing. It's not FIFA 18, you can't play narrow. It's not even FIFA 20. You need really those wider players. So that is a big confusion. So although maybe if you might be in Division 6, Division 5, and this could very much work for you, it will only work for you for a certain amount of time. That's why you have to bear that in mind. So it's still a viable formation, but there's a lot of manual work needed with the left center mid and right center mid. That's why it doesn't really go into the top 10. I'd probably say it's one of the lower end formations inside the game. And then the rest are the 4-3-3s. All the 4-3-3s, this one is actually still a decent formation. No CDMs, isn't defensively sound. This is still a very good formation, but I would say you're probably inclined to lead towards the 4-1-4-1 because you got CDMs. You could argue this would be like a 6 or 7. I think also what probably goes in there in an uncategorized order, uncategorized order would be the 4-3-3s. I think they're all very, very good. This is an exceptionally good. This will be coming out on Friday. This or maybe next Friday. Actually, we're gonna upload the new 4-2-2 for this Friday. I don't know which way. I've not recorded a video yet, so I'll decide. Maybe on Wednesday I'll decide. Anyway, the 4-3-3 fourth variation is what was used to be called as one of the best. It's basically a 4-2-1-3 on steroids, but the most important thing again is no CDMs here. So it's very attack heavy. So if you really like the 4-2-1-3, this could be another attacking slot to make it even more attacking as well. But then the argument is you could even go to the 4-4-1-1 as well. So they're actually very, very similar with the left wing and right wing. Well, I think that left wing and right wing, I think with this one, it's about number 6, number 7. Again, this one I say it has its use. It's basically a 4-2-3-1. Again, the difference is you don't have a cam, you got a center mid. Bit better defensively. I've explained this on Friday's video, but this is basically a 4-2-1-3. Put this play on holding. Now you got a defensive 4-2-1-3 with the counter attack threat there as well. This one is actually a good formation. I think again it needs to is more of a higher level tier formation. The reason why I say that is because I think a lot of people struggle without the cam, and with this formation, not only do you not have 2 strikers like a 4-4-2, which people struggle with only 1 striker, you have an issue now where you got no cam. You haven't got 2 strikers, so you're very empty in midfield. I think a lot of people, if you're watching this in Division 2, Division 1, and you want to go to Elite Division, try using this formation rival. Let's say you reach your checkpoint and maybe you don't need to go any more further in Division 2 or whatever. You will see you will struggle because you haven't got the space in the middle. You haven't got that cam, and all of you got the 2 strikers. So you haven't got 2 strikers, you haven't got that cam. So it's a very slow, progressive formation. Not everyone plays that way. A lot of people are more neutrally. They kind of natively go down more the counter-attack route as opposed to being a bit more slow, progressive in their build-up play. So this is a very niche formation, I would say. Yes, it can work well with 2 box-to-boxes, has the CDM, so you have that security. But again, it's quite niche. It's the same with this 4-3-3 flat. This one is the more attacking variation. But again, it relies on you do a lot of L1 triggers, at least at the very minimum, have counter on your gameplay style as well. So I still think it probably goes up there, probably just edges in the top 10. And then, for example, you have, as I said, all the best there. The 541s, I still think is very, very good. You can make an argument that the pros will still be using, or I think in the if the argument I'll make is the 541 and the 532, if they were allowed on the professional scene, the pros would be using it. That would be my opinion on that. It's a very good utility formation. It'll be used alongside the 4-2. It won't replace, but it'll be used alongside the 4-2-1-3 and the 4-4-2. But that is basically it. So again, the 3 backs are probably relegated to, like, I think there's 21 tactics in total, wherever there is. The 3 backs are unfortunately relegated to right at the back. I don't even want to talk about them because defensively they're woeful. But then the other ones have the same, you have a few niche, like, this is very niche. If you like to use those wide plays, and this one is more of a width formation. So, if you like to really use the wide players, you can do something like this, inside forward, and put half winger. Then you basically got 3 players attacking on the right hand side and create like a 3 versus 2 against your opponent. So if you like using wide plays, that is definitely a good option. But anyway, look, I just wanted to make this video just a bit of an insight. But also, look, at the end of the day, let me know what you want to see down below. What kind of tactics you want to see. We'll put some more in these tactics reviews. I kind of want to ideally test some new tactics out. Other people's tactics. Let me know whose tactics you want to see. Ideally, message me in a comment section down below here, because I read all the comments. And if you send me a DM on Twitter, there's a high chance I'll miss it. As you can imagine, I get spammed with like 100 DMs a day with so many questions. So I may miss it. But let me know. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.